Hi, it's Kelly, and you're watching That Smells Divine. Welcome to my channel. Today, we're going to be talking about how I am building out my perfume collection. So my hope with this video is that, first of all, I can sort of publicly declare my organizational strategy and sort of get my ish together. But then also, maybe this will help those of you who feel overwhelmed by all the things you want to buy, or all the samples you have or all the bottles you have, whatever. Like, I want to give you guys a little bit of direction. I want to give you guys maybe some ideas as to how you could potentially navigate this as well. So I've always been someone who's had like 80 samples slash bottles at the same time. Like always. Well, not always, since like 2010, the past like 10 years when I've gotten super into fragrance. I've never had a huge bottle collection. Like most bottles I've had at one time are like, I don't know, probably right now, I think I have like, I don't know, maybe 30 full-size bottles, maybe. I have a ton of decants, like a ton of 10 milliliter decants. And then a ton of samples, like 1 to 2 milliliter samples. So yeah, I've always just had a ton of fragrances, and I never really cared to organize them. I never really was as voracious about fragrances as I have been in the past like 6 months. And so I'm noticing that I'm just starting to feel like kind of overwhelmed, and therefore I recently set up a little organizational strategy, and maybe this will help you as well. So my strategy involves an app or website called Trello that I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of. I know a lot of fragrance addicts also kind of organize their fragrances for various reasons, but I just started doing this because the reason I started doing it was I wanted to catalog what I actually had, full bottles, samples, and decants. And so I created this full catalog on Trello. So I have my own like single Trello board that's just called like fragrance, right? And then the very first column in the board is like my fragrance catalog. It's what I have. And I have it in alphabetical order by house. And then what I've done is I've gone and color coded with labels. I've color coded like spring and summer, I think is yellow. Winter and fall, I think is blue. And then I've got like fragrances that I absolutely love. So like my absolute fragrances get labeled pink. Fragrances that I need to review get labeled blue. So these are fragrances, or not blue, I think it's purple. These are fragrances that I haven't talked about yet on the channel. And then I have another label for fragrances that are like, that need to be like attended to because they're like old and they're probably going to go off soon, right? So those are, I believe, are red. I don't know. I'd have to look at it. Anyway, so that's the first column. So I recently spoke in a video about how I'm doing an upcoming series. I haven't quite decided the name or if it's going to come out on Mondays or Thursdays quite yet. I will decide very soon. But what I'm doing basically is sampling 7 at a time of all the fragrances in my collection, whether it's samples, decants, or full bottles. And then I'll like do a quick little review and basically just tell you if I think it's full bottle worthy or not. So once I've done those reviews for all of the perfumes in my catalog, then I will move the fragrance over to a new column. And I've got a column for like keep testing, which is, you may have watched my De Los Santos first impressions, like that's gonna go in the keep testing column. And then I'll have a column for just give the sample away if I just like absolutely hate it, I have no interest in it. And then I'll have a column for if I want to continue to wear the sample, but I'm not interested in a full bottle. And then I have a column for full bottles that I want. And then I also have a column for blind buys that I want, okay? And then what I do is as I go through, because I watch fragrance reviews every night, I check Fragrantica every day. I'm literally obsessed with fragrance, like obsessed. And every time I watch a fragrance review from another channel, or anytime I read about a new release in Fragrantica, if I want to give it a shot, I will put it in one of the columns. I have like an A to Z, like fragrances to sample columns, right? If for example, like the Zara perfumes, right? They're like $19, some of them. Like they're super cheapies, right? Or if there's like I don't know, one of those Anthropologie perfumes or just something that like I'm okay blind buying like under 50 bucks, right? So if a reviewer is like raving about a perfume and I look it up and the price point's like anywhere up to 50 bucks, I'll put it in the blind buys column and I'll just know like, okay, this is my list of things that I want to blind buy, right? So then, and this is like what I'm going to do moving forward because I have not had strategy around this lately and it's been like, it can get kind of out of hand. I've seen lots of videos of you, some of you guys, if you're also fragrance reviewers, I've seen some videos of some people spending some money and being like, oh, like I saw this one the other day, the girl was like, I dropped 55 grand on perfume. And I was like, what? Like $55,000? Yeah, like that's a lot of money. It can get out of hand, right? Like I spent, what month was it? I think it was in January. I spent way too much money on perfume, like way too much. And I want to have some sort of strategy around it. So I feel like it's in control. I feel like I'm being intentional, right? So every month, what I'd like to do is I'd like to get at least one full bottle off of my full bottle list, the ones that I know I want. Not that, like I've sampled them, I've smelled them, they've made it all the way onto my list. Like one bottle from there, and then 1 or 2 bottles from the blind buy list. And then get like a sample haul of like 10 to 20 samples from my sample list. And then just bring them into my collection and just run them right through the Trello board, right? So they go into the left-hand column. I know I'm like super OCD. Some of you guys might think that this video is ridiculous and some of you might be like, oh my God, I love this stuff, right? Like I love organizing things and I love being organized and I love having a plan and a strategy. So as soon as a fragrance comes into my collection, whether it's this size, whether it's a full bottle, it's going to go straight into the left-hand column, into the fragrance catalog column. And then it'll get sampled in one of the videos. And from there, it'll get moved into the appropriate column. And then it will be purchased or not. So that's my plan. I am pretty new at fragrance collecting, so I plan on collecting. Like, I don't want to have limitations around it. I do want to be smart, like money-wise with it. I don't want to go crazy and spend $55,000 on perfume and then feel like I'm going to choke. But I do want to definitely keep adding and keep buying. And I'm definitely not one of those people that needs to go on a no-buy spree. I know there's a couple people I follow on YouTube that are having like no-buy years or no-buy months. And I'm definitely not there. My collection is very amateur. It's very, it's got its training wheels on and I'm excited to expand it. And I feel like this is going to be the most approachable way, but also the way that doesn't have me feeling overwhelmed and has me like actually like intentionally working with my samples. Cause I feel like, I don't know if you can relate to this, but sometimes I'll do like a sample haul and it's like I get this like hit from it, right? Like it's kind of like this addiction of like smelling new smells. And I'll get like the high from like smelling all these new smells that I've never smelled before. And then they'll all just like go into my sample drawer and I'll like forget about them. And some of them are really nice perfumes. Like I've got Baccarat Rouge in my sample drawer. I've got a bunch of Initio. I've got, what else do I have in there? Some really good stuff. And it just sits there and there's no point for it to sit there when it's like great perfume. Like I need to be playing more with these samples, not just like pulling them out and being spray happy right when they come in the mail and then forgetting about them. So yeah, so I'm looking to really advance my approach here and just be a little bit more well-rounded, a little bit more hands-on, a little bit more intentional. And yeah, I think that's it. So hopefully this video was helpful for you. I'll post on Instagram when I'm going to do the 7 sample series. So if you're not following me on Instagram already, you can click on the link in my description of this video to follow me on Instagram. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please hit subscribe and make sure you hit the alarm bell to receive future notifications of future videos. And I would love to hear in the comments, how do you personally organize your perfume collection? How do you keep everything kind of straight in your head? Do you feel overwhelmed? Do you feel like you don't have enough in your collection? How are you kind of managing all of that? So Thanks so much for watching. Until next time.